Okay, the moment you have been waiting for, the JCC lens. What in the world is happening when you're flipping that JCC lens? So you saw it in the simulator in the Fropter, but this is what a handheld JCC lens looks like, and it's got it's a combination of cylindrical lenses at 90 degrees to each other. So this particular one is a plus 50 sill and a minus 50 sill. 90 degrees away from each other, which means its spherical equivalent is plano. So if I have this, as I have this plus 650 lens, and I make it a nice focus right there, nice point light. If I put this JCC lens in, well, now I've just thrown in a cylindrical lens over, and I've got a cylindrical image of a light beam, and here I've got it kind of 90 degrees away. So it's, as I flip the JCC lens, it creates a little bit of astigmatism, and at a particular axis, depending on how I'm holding the lens. And when you're flipping this lens, you're asking the patient, do you like the sill that my lens is giving? And do you like it better in that direction or in that direction? So this is a plus 8 plus, I don't know what, plus 8 plus 2 lens. And I have two meridians. One is there, one is here. So that is, that's what this lens creates. When you do the JCC, the Jackson Cross sill, because of, you can see that line is horizontal. So that is the axis at 180. If I hold the lens this way and flip, I am straddling the axis. If I hold it this way, I am now lined up with the axis. When I'm lined up with the axis and I flip the JCC, I'm checking for power. When I am straddling the axis and flipping the lens, I am checking for orientation. And what happens is, if I put that in, here's where the patient's refractive error is. Let's say, if I put the JCC in, it makes the light go a little bit that way. I flip it, it goes a little bit that way. Here, here. And when you're flipping, looking for the axis, you're saying to the patient, does this orientation line up more with what you need, or does that orientation line up with more of what you need? And then if they say that way, then you rotate a little bit and you say again, do you like it this way or that way? And then you just keep going whichever way they tell you until you line it up. The reason the patients can't tell the difference when you get to the end point is there is no difference. You're saying, if that's what they really need, you're saying, do you want it a little bit this way or a little bit that way? And they say, well, I can't tell the difference because this way is a little bit too far that way. That way is a little too far the other way, but they're both equally off from what I really want. So it looks the same. That's why they can't tell when the end point is. It just looks the same to them. So that is what you're doing when you're refining the axis. When you are refining the power, this is perhaps going to be tricky to show you on the video, but here is one meridian, here is another meridian. And I don't know if you can see how far I have to move my hand, but that is their conoid of Sturm from here to here. Now, if I put the JCC lined up with power, now I move my hand. Here's one meridian. Here's the other meridian. And that, if you can see how far I'm moving my hand, I don't know, a couple inches. And then I flip here, and to get that meridian and that meridian in focus, I'm barely moving a ½ inch. So here I have collapsed the interval of Sturm, and they're going to like that better if that matches what they need, if that aligns more with their conoid of Sturm. But if they need a greater amount of astigmatism correction, they're going to like this one better, because that is going to align with their conoid of Sturm. And of course, as you add power, what you're doing is you're reducing that conoid of Sturm to a nice point light source. You want to get rid of these two meridians and make it just one nice little point on the retina. So that's what the JCC lens does. It's pretty slick. And then when you're doing the power search, when you get to the end point, I can't demonstrate it on this, but when you get to the end point, you're showing them, you have the circle of least confusion on the retina, and you're showing them, do you want a little bit more, a little bit less? And they say, well, I don't know, they're both crummy. I don't want more, I don't want less, I take it away. And so again, the end point of the JCC, the patient can't tell the difference. Annoying for the patient, but that's just optics. So there you go, the JCC lens.